Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I know I'm very inactive in the moment because my sister's wedding is in 3 weeks and I'm totally occupied with her wedding. Let's just jump right into my Booktubeathon Wrap Up. So the first task was to read a book with yellow on the cover and I chose Saga Volume 3. It's about this girl and her parents, which are both from different races, and there's like this war going on between those races. So the average rating is a 4.5 on Goodreads and I gave them 3 stars. So the first thing I like is that the whole series is very entertaining but in a weird way, and the second thing I really like is that the characters are very complex. So the things I don't like that much is firstly the drawing style. It's just not my thing. The whole plot and the whole story is very disturbing, and the third thing I don't like is that there's so much sex and violence going on. I mean, I don't care about sex and violence most of the time, but in this thing it's because I don't like the drawing style and I think the whole thing is super unsettling. And I recommend this series to people who enjoy very entertaining graphic novels, who don't care about lots of sex and violence, and who also enjoy space-themed graphic novels with family dynamics. So the second book is to read a book After Sunset, and I chose Everything by Nicola June. It's about this girl who is literally allergic to the world. She has like this medical condition and a very low immune system and she can't go out. And one day a boy moves next door and then this romance starts and she wants to experience things even though she can't. And it has an average star rating of 4 stars and I also gave it 4 stars. Firstly, I really liked the mother and daughter dynamic. I think it was nice. They both had such a good relationship. Second thing I really enjoyed was that it was a very creative story and I haven't read something like that before in that way. Thirdly, I really enjoyed these little bits and pieces of very creative drawings, and it was just a very creative book. So things I didn't like, there were some things where okay, this is very convenient for the plot. Second, the ending was very rushed. And the third thing to mention is that I didn't mind it, but I think maybe some of you would mind, and it's because the romance was a little bit of an insta-love romance. And I recommend this book to people who enjoy love stories with a serious undertone. So the third task was to read a book you discovered through Booktube, and I chose This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. It's about this world where everybody is afraid of the dark because monsters are real. We have 2 main protagonists. One is August and he's actually a monster. And the second protagonist, Kate, is this girl whose father is this monster hunter, and she's grown up to be just like her father, as ruthless and such a monster hunter as he is. And the average rating is about 4.2 and I gave it 4 stars. First up, the plot was very creative and different from other stories. Second, I really enjoyed the pacing. I think it was the good combination about slow pacing and fast pacing. The third thing is that Victoria Schwab really made me care about the characters. And the fourth thing is something unique, I think, because there was no romance. It didn't feel like there was romance going on and I really enjoyed it. It was refreshing. And 3 things I didn't like is that firstly, Kate, the one protagonist, was a little bit exhausting sometimes, and I think August could have struggled even more. He did struggle in the story, but I think he could even struggle more. The second thing is that I think that it was too predictable sometimes. And the third thing you may gonna laugh is that there was no romance. I know I mentioned it on the I like, but I also didn't like that there was no romance. It's like a love-hate relationship. And I recommend this book to people who enjoy entertaining and different stories about monsters and identity struggles. So the fourth thing was to read a book from your favorite author, and I chose Fango by Rainbow Rowell because I love Rainbow Rowell. I actually failed to read Fango for the Booktubeathon, but I already finished it, so I'm gonna give you my wrap up anyway. It's about these 2 twin sisters who start college and they slowly drift apart. It's just about coping with issues and family dynamics and love. And it has an average rating of 4.1 and I gave it 5 stars. I really enjoyed that the characters are so memorable and flawed and you can really relate to them. It's such a cute and heartwarming story and there's no interlove, and I just love the writing style of Ray Morale. It's one of my favorites. So the 3 things I'm gonna mention of I didn't like is not that I didn't like it, but I think most of the people who read it will maybe don't like this in the book. So first up is that this book is a very character-driven storyline. It has not that big of a plot, it's more character-driven, and the characters are putting into like different situations and how they cope. It is, like I said, very character-driven. And the second thing is that this book is about fan fiction, and there are some fan fictions about Simon Snow, and I enjoyed them, but I read that most people didn't enjoy them. And the third thing is that it's a little bit stereotypical about fangirls, and maybe if you are sensitive about the topic, maybe you don't like that. I recommend this book to everyone who enjoys character-driven storylines with like this relatable characters and this beautiful romance parts. So the 5th task is to read a book that's older than you, and I chose Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and it's about Elizabeth Bennet. She's an unmarried girl, and there's this new neighbor, and he's called Mr. Darcy, and he's very proud, and it's about their courtship and how they cope with like prejudice and pride. And the average rating is 4.2 stars, and I can't tell you my rating because I didn't finish it. So that's why I can't tell you what I like or what I didn't like, and I can't recommend it to you because I didn't finish it. The 6th task was to read and then watch a book-to-movie adaptation, and I chose Coraline by Neil Gaiman. Coraline is about this little girl, Coraline, who moves with her parents into this new house, and then she finds this door, and it's a secret door, and she gets through it, and then she's in this parallel universe with this other parents, her other mother and her other father, and they have like this creepy black button as eyes. The other mother kidnaps her parents, and the whole story begins, and it's an average rating of 4 stars, and I gave it 3 stars. So a few things I really liked about the story are, firstly, Coraline, the protagonist. This girl is so brave, like her whole bravery is portrayed so well. I think she's a good role model for younger kids. I also think that the whole structure of the story was amazing, and I really liked the pacing of the story, and I also love the cat. There's a cat involved in the story, and he was just the best. And there's only one thing I really didn't like, and that were the illustrations in the book. They were so creepy. I can't tell you. They just freaked me out. It was so creepy, and I think the whole story would be okay to read to your children. I'm not sure if I would read them because I think it's just a little too horror for me. So I recommend this book to everyone who enjoys like this adventurous story about being brave and overcoming things you are scared of. And task 7 and the last task was to read 7 books, and I failed. I haven't read 7 books. But that's it from my side, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I will talk to you very soon, so bye! The second thing is that I think it was too predictable